Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. On a peaceful Tuesday morning in Los Angeles, the news broke like a storm. Heather Tom, the Emmy-winning powerhouse who has embodied Katie Logan on The Bold and The Beautiful for 15 consecutive years, posted a single photograph on Instagram. Her dressing room door at Television City, the gold star with Heather Tom still gleaming, but now adorned with a small bouquet of white roses and a handwritten note pinned beneath it that simply read, "Thank you for everything." The caption underneath was only 9 words long, but it detonated acro more shortly. With unending love, HT. There is no explanation. There is no teary video. There was no carefully prepared press release from Bell Phillip Productions. Just those 9 words, and the undeniable finality of white roses on a door that millions of spectators had seen her walk through day after day, decade after decade. Within minutes, the hashtag Goodbye Katie was trending internationally. Longtime fans who had grown up watching Katie Logan grow from the overlooked little sister with a heart condition to a media mogul, a survivor of shootings, heart transplants, alcoholic relapses, and more near-death experiences than a cat with extra lives, flooded the comments with disbelief, tears, and desperate pleas for this to be an elaborate plot twist. "This can't be real," one person wrote. "They wouldn't kill Katie, would they?" Another posted a gif of Katie clutching her chest from the 2012 heart transplant arc with the caption, "Not again." But the truth, quietly disclosed hours later by a CBS representative, was both simpler and more momentous than any manufactured death. Heather Tom had decided to leave the program on her own volition. There is no contract conflict. There was no backstage drama, at least that anyone would confirm on the record. No sudden illness. Just a woman who, at 49, concluded that the chapter she started writing when she was 34, freshly married and pregnant with her son Zayn, had come to a natural and very personal end. For those who had followed her path, the choice, when the facts were revealed over the next 48 hours, felt less like a shock and more like the natural release after 15 years of holding your breath. Heather delivered her first and only in-depth interview regarding her leaving to Soap Opera Digest the next week. She appeared at the magazine's Mid-Wilshire headquarters dressed in jeans and a white linen blouse, with the same tranquil half-smile she used to give when Katie was about to deliver a devastatingly cool takedown of Quinn, Bill, or whoever had crossed her that week. But this time, the serenity was different. It was earned. "I woke up one morning in early spring," she said, burrowing into the corner of a beige sofa, "and I decided I didn't want to wear Katie's clothing anymore. Not because I don't love her. God, I love her more than I can ever express. But because I suddenly realized that I had given her everything I could, and if I stayed any longer, I would start borrowing from her rather than the other way around." She paused, choosing her words with the precision of someone who has spent nearly 4 decades making every syllable matter. "Katie Logan saved my life," she explained quietly. "When I arrived to B&B in 2007, I was still the girl from All My Children who had been labeled as difficult. At the age of 25, I had won 2 daytime Emmys, and it had somehow become a disadvantage. People criticized me for being overly intense, opinionated, and assertive. Then Brad Bell offered me Katie, a broken-hearted woman who was allowed to be angry, clever, and dirty while remaining the moral center of the storm. He told me to make her whoever I needed her to be, and I did." Heather laughed gently, as if she had only recently realized the humor in her own intensity. "I aged on camera. I had a kid on camera. Katie did, but I brought Zayn to the set when he was 6 weeks old and nursed him between scenes while wearing a false pregnancy tummy. While filming funeral scenes for Stephanie Forrester, I was overcome with grief over my father's passing. I directed episodes while 8 months pregnant the second time around, and no one outside the team was aware. Katie and I faced several challenges, including marriage, divorce, alcoholism, business takeovers, being shot in the chest by Storm, and waking up with Bill's wife's heart beating inside me. Throughout, the audience supported us. With me, She gazed out the window at the traffic on Wilshire Boulevard and continued. But something changed this year. Maybe it was turning 49. Perhaps it was watching Zayn turn 12 and realizing he only knows his mother as the lady who disappears into a studio every day, returns home fatigued, but still tries to get to his soccer games. Perhaps it was directing my 10th episode and realizing that I want to tell more stories from the other side of the camera. Or maybe, she smiled again, smaller this time, Katie just received everything she battled for. She has a son. She has sisters. She founded a company with her name on the entrance. She is healthy. She is sober. She's at peace. I realized I wanted that for myself as well. Real peace. Not the version that comes after the next explosion. She asserted that the decision was entirely her own, but she informed Brad Bell and executive producer Casey Kasperzik in person over coffee at the studio one February morning. I cried, she admits. Brad cried. Casey appeared to be calculating how many heart attacks this would cause among the writing staff. But they both stated the same thing. We never wanted you to stay a day longer than you needed to. That's unusual in this industry. That type of respect. At the time of the interview, Katie Logan was still tightly protected. Rumors circulated of a quiet departure to Paris to oversee Spencer Publications' European business, a heroic death saving Wyatt or Will, and a coma that would allow for future guest appearances. Heather refused to disclose it, stating only, Katie deserves an ending that feels like a beginning, and the audience needs to feel every moment of it. In the weeks following the news, condolences flooded in. Former co-stars shared throwback photos, including Don Diamont cradling a laughing Heather on the Spencer jet set, Catherine Kelly Lang and Heather covered in fake blood after one of their many catfights, and Scott Clifton pretending to strangle her with a Hermes scarf while she pretended to enjoy it far too much. Jennifer Garais uploaded a video of Heather guiding her in a birth scene while secretly 9 months pregnant, whispering push through gritted teeth because she was having contractions in between takes. Fans who said they were done with soaps emerged out of the woodwork. A 68-year-old woman from Ohio mailed the studio a quilt featuring every significant Katie hairstyle from 2007 to 2025. A college student started a GoFundMe campaign to commission a life-size bronze statue of Katie clutching her heart outside Television City. It collected $87,000 when Heather politely urged them to donate the money to the American Heart Association instead. On her last tape day, May 23, 2025, the entire building appeared to hold their breath. Crew members who had been with the show when it premiered in 1987 wore black armbands with little embroidered hearts. The makeup department gave her a lipstick in a custom shade called Logan Berry. The craft service table served only Katie's favorite foods, grilled salmon, kale salad, and an enormous chocolate cake with the icing. You were always the heart. Heather's final scene was simple, almost anticlimactic by Forrester standards. Katie stood alone in Spencer Publications' CEO office, with the beautiful Los Angeles city behind her. She looked around Bill's former chamber, touched the desk where she had signed papers recovering her power numerous times, and said, "Okay, old girl. It was time to go be special somewhere else." She stepped out, heels clicking with the same determined rhythm that had signaled her presence for the previous 15 years, and softly closed the door. There were no gunshots. There was no automobile crash. There is no rising violin music. Just the gentle click of a chapter closing. When the director said, "Cut," the dam broke backstage. Adult guys who wire lights for a living grieved openly. Hair and makeup artists held on to one another like survivors of a disaster. Bradley Bell embraced Heather for an entire minute without speaking. Heather, who had been dry-eyed throughout the incident, finally shed some tears. Later that night, she tweeted one final shot of her dressing room, which was absolutely empty except for the arrangement of white roses resting alone on the vanity. The caption said, "I left my heart in there. It seems out it wasn't truly mine to begin with. It belonged to each of you. Thank you for sharing it with me for 15 years. Katie Logan will never leave me, and I hope she never leaves you. All my love, Heather." In the months that followed, speculation about her next move grew into its own cottage industry. Will she return to Broadway? Create a prestige cable drama? Start a producing firm with her husband, James Aker? Direct a feature film? When she was ready, she revealed the reality, which was quieter but no less ambitious. In September 2025, Heather announced the formation of Tom/Aker Productions, a new company dedicated to developing female-driven stories for television and film, with an emphasis on characters over 40 who were allowed to be brilliant, sexual, furious, funny, and flawed, all at the same time. Their first project was a limited series about a legendary Hollywood costume designer in the 1970s who moonlights as a fixer for actresses in trouble, written and directed by Heath. When asked by Variety if she missed daytime, she replied without hesitation, "Every day. But missing something doesn't mean you made the incorrect decision. It just means it mattered." And somewhere in Los Angeles, in a house filled with soccer cleats, Emmy statues, and images of a young son growing up too quickly, a woman who once played the beating heart of a fictional dynasty eventually learned to listen to her own rhythm. Katie Logan achieved a happy ending. Heather Tom, it turned out, had only just begun. Heather Tom's news began as a ripple, whispered in fan forums, social feeds, and entertainment blogs, before swelling into a wave that spilled over the whole bold and the beautiful community. For decades, she had been associated with the character of Katie Logan, the calm heart at the center of the show's turmoil. Now, with a single statement, she was revealing a transition that seemed both significant and bittersweet. As she prepared to speak directly to fans, the atmosphere was charged with curiosity, admiration, and the unavoidable ache of impending farewells. The online community has been humming for days. Fans speculated on a hiatus, a new contract, a storyline twist, or a return to directing. Heather had always worn numerous creative hats, and audiences could see she valued the craft behind the camera as much as the emotional nuance in front of it. Still, nothing prepared them for the gravity of what she was about to say. When she eventually addressed everyone in an honest, softly lit video released to her official social media accounts, her countenance was visibly serene. Not the calm of detachment, but the serenity of someone who has taken a tough decision with clarity and gratitude. She began by thanking the millions of viewers who had followed Katie's journey through grief, medical crises, romantic entanglements, and family issues that only daytime soap could provide. She talked about the delight, challenge, and luxury of living inside a character who had changed so dramatically over the years. Her statements bore the weight of real enthusiasm for the character and the show's long history. She referred to Katie as a character who taught her about strength and gentleness, tenacity and vulnerability. The relationship between actress and role has frequently been recognized as one of the richest and most detailed on the show. Writers created storylines around Katie that allowed Heather to develop emotionally, earning appreciation from both colleagues and audiences. That chapter was now turning. The major news, as she eventually acknowledged, was her decision to leave the post to pursue new creative opportunities, projects she had been discreetly creating behind the scenes. These projects drew her farther into directing, producing, and exploring new forms outside of daytime television. She emphasized her excitement about expanding into storytelling outlets that had always piqued her interest, such as streaming, indie movies, and narrative ventures that would allow her to reach viewers in whole new ways. She was serious, but funny in admitting that change is difficult. She saw that soap characters became part of people's routines, comfort zones, and even their families. But she also said that artistic progress frequently necessitates forays into the unknown, and she believed this was the ideal time to embrace that drive. While she didn't rule out returning someday, Katie's door is always open, she said with a smile. Her current route was propelling her forward with purpose. Fans responded to her announcement with comments, response videos, tribute threads, and expressions of support. Some people conveyed their loss by recalling their favorite Katie moments, her tearful fights with Bill, her sisterly devotion to Brooke and Donna, and the tender link she had with her son Will. Others praised Heather's unwavering progress, recalling her award-winning moments, her seamless transitions between laughter and grief, and her grounded presence even in the show's most bizarre plotlines. Many people were taken aback by her departure because of how closely she had grown linked to the identity of the bold and the beautiful. She joined the program in the early 2000s and transformed Katie into a multidimensional character with layers influenced by family strife, personal insecurities, and emotional successes. Her performance felt genuine, even when the scripts pushed her into dramatic terrain that would test any actor. Heather instilled humanity in the character through medical concerns, love rivalry, and radical reinventions, elevating the drama to an emotionally gripping level. On set, colleagues praised her professionalism, kindness, and collaborative spirit. Castmates frequently mentioned how she raised scenes simply by being present, inspiring those around her to go deeper. Directors loved her knack for emotional beats, ability to adjust energy on a dime, and instinctive understanding of pacing, all of which carried easily into her own directing work. Crew members appreciated her warmth behind the scenes, especially the way she greeted everyone with real interest and treated the daily grind of soap production with respect. This rare balance, creative depth combined with personal grace, was a defining feature of her time on the show. It enabled Heather to not only shine as an actress, but also to take on leadership responsibilities within the creative team. She gradually gained recognition for her vision and storytelling insight. Her work as a director received critical acclaim, and viewers frequently noted a special emotional clarity in the moments she directed. This increasing creative identity laid the groundwork for the various enterprises she is currently undertaking. As her announcement progressed, she candidly discussed the moment she knew she needed to take the next step. The drive to challenge herself had progressively risen, fueled by projects she had pursued during production interruptions. She expressed the thrill of creating narratives from scratch, influencing tone, partnering with writers, and inventing new characters with the same intricacy she brought to Katie Logan. Her motivation for change was progress, not discontent. Leaving was not an easy decision. Heather recognized the fans' enormous impact on her life and profession. She recalled meeting fans at fan gatherings, hearing their stories about how Katie helped them overcome their own challenges, and discovering how deeply people connected to a character who matched ferocious loyalty with emotional frailty. These experiences reminded her of the significance of meaningful storytelling, and they strengthened her resolve to take that purpose forward into her new career. She also considered the value of playing a character who overcame so much. Katie's storyline about her heart condition really moved audiences, providing a nuanced depiction of chronic sickness and personal perseverance. Heather frequently expressed her gratitude for how people responded to Katie's candor, sparking discussions about health, family, and the complexity of love. She saw these moments as some of her most rewarding contributions to the show. Even as she looked ahead, Heather assured viewers that Katie's spirit would live on through the show's legacy. She thanked the writers and producers for allowing her to create the character over time and expressed faith that the bold and the beautiful would continue to thrive with new arcs and creative approaches. She encouraged viewers to continue supporting the show's storytelling growth. Her message was more than just contemplative, it was hopeful. She shared details on upcoming projects, including work in progress that will allow her to explore issues of identity, metamorphosis, and human connections. She indicated a desire to cooperate with new voices in genres ranging from poignant dramas to character-driven storytelling and even stuff outside of standard entertainment formats. She stressed how exciting it was to be entering a space where she could contribute from several perspectives as a creative architect, a visual storyteller, and a performer if the project called for it. Heather's statement sparked a surge of both nostalgia and celebration. Many people commented on how unusual it was for a daily actor to effectively transition into other areas of filmmaking. Her move exemplified the adaptability and talent that can emerge in the hard environment of soap opera production. Fans were amazed by the possibilities that were ahead of her, knowing that her talent extended far beyond the confines of a single character or genre. Fans share recollections of Katie's most famous performances on social media, including heartbreaking hospital scenes, unexpected bursts of laughter, and girl-next-door warmth mixed with flashes of steel. They remembered her wedding episodes, her sensitive confessions, and her unwavering determination to maintain her dignity in the face of loss. Heather had portrayed the role through several lifetimes on film, and each variation felt solid and believable. What made this departure so moving was the impression that both the performer and the character had matured with the viewer. Many viewers who started watching years ago had gone through their own life transitions, such as marriage, parenthood, work changes, and personal challenges. Katie's experience reflected these transformations in a unique emotional way. Heather, too, was entering a new stage of life, and supporters felt both protective and proud. Behind the scenes, co-workers continued to share their own messages, including images, meaningful notes, set jokes, and memories of long filming days that left everyone exhausted but satisfied. They praised her artistry and expressed confidence that she would bring greatness to whatever came next. These accolades reflected what admirers had been saying for years. Heather had a creative soul too big to stay in one lane forever. The initial surprise of her announcement gave way to a warm acceptance over the course of the days. Her farewell to Katie Logan felt complete but not final. The door remained open, and the story continued. Fans recognized that television, particularly daytime drama, thrived on change, metamorphosis, and reinvention. This moment was simply part of the continuum, an emotional watershed moment, yes, but also an invitation to explore what might happen next for Heather and the show she helped design. In the weeks that followed, the conversation shifted from sorrow to anticipation. Viewers pondered on how the show may right Katie's leave, what arcs might emerge in her absence, and how her plot might eventually bring her back home. Meanwhile, followers grew increasingly interested in Heather's next initiatives, eager to support whatever she chose to create. Her decision marked the inevitable continuation of a career built on talent, dedication, and a strong love of storytelling. It was both a farewell and a beginning, an acknowledgement of her accomplishments, and an embracing of what she planned to pursue next. She reminded everyone that change is not loss, but rather progress. As the bold and the beautiful community compassionately bid Katie goodnight for the time being, they carried forward Heather's message. Stories finish so that others might begin, and every farewell carries the potential of new stories to be told. Her journey was far from over, and in many ways, it felt as if it had just begun.